this is JJ from Once Somerville. Thanks so much for being here. It's great to see you. What you're about to enjoy is some special content created just for you by the Once family. We appreciate the time that the artists have given, and we've put a link to their tip jar in the comments below. We've also put a link there to our GoFundMe. This is one of the ways that we're going to get through this time until we can be open and together again. Art and community are our priorities here at Once. We really miss you, and we can't wait until we can all be back together. Until then, this is our way of holding our community close and continuing to make art. So, before you enjoy the show, a couple of notes. The bathrooms are in the back. On the left, no flash photography, and as always, no crowd surfing. Enjoy. We'll see you soon.
Hello, we are Friendship Commanders.
Hey friends, we're streaming here from Nashville, Tennessee, and we want to say that we offer our music up in solidarity to everybody protesting, to everybody raising hell. We are with you when we are not doing this. We would like to say the names of some lives lost to racist violence, misogynist violence, and transphobic violence. Tony McDade, Dominique Remy Fells, Raya Milton, Toyin Salau, Breonna Taylor, Robert Fuller, Rayshard Brooks, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for supporting this cool independent venue, and thanks to them for having us. This song is called In the Afterthoughts. Thank you. We have a new record out called Hold On To Yourself. This is the first song on it. It's called The Enemy I Know. And tonight it goes out to all the people out there who are the non-stop news, who are catching shit from their families and their communities for standing up. It's for you. before this next song. The Tennessee legislature and Governor Bill Lee pushed an unconstitutional, racist, sexist, classist abortion ban through 8 days ago. And we're on the front lines trying to fight it. I want to send my love up to the Tennessee Advocates for Planned Parenthood and Sister Reach and all the organizations in the state working to undo it. But right now we're in a lot of trouble. So I urge you to seek help. Seek out organizations that are doing the health and the work around bodily autonomy because it's part of the movement for Black lives. Thank you.
everyone. We are Friendship Commanders, broadcasting live from Nashville, Tennessee, in our home. And I want to thank the wonderful people at Once for having us, for doing all of this, and our awesome booking agent, Aaron Gray, for putting this all together. I think all of our information, the Venmo and the PayPal tip jar, are in the comments section. Everything we make tonight, we're donating to Black Visions Collective or Sister Reach.
Black Visions Collective, but if we make any extra money, we're going to donate it to Sister Reach here in Tennessee.
There's also a donation link for Once, and they need your help so they can make it to the other end of this, so we can actually physically come up to Boston and play for you, which we would much rather be doing, even though this is great. In the meanwhile, we got 3 songs left for you, 2 of which are from Bill, our previous full length. The last one's a brand new one off our EP. That about does it? About everything?
Probably, hopefully. Thank you for being here. And hello to all the Boston friends that are watching. I'm an ex-Bostonian. Good to feel you all out there. I love you. Hi. I'm hugging you. It's gross, but I'm hugging you. The song's called Women to the Front.
Yeah.
Again, we are Friendship Commanders. This is our last song.
It requires another guitar change.
Requires another guitar change. I'll say again, we're donating all tips tonight to Black Visions Collective. And if we go over a certain amount, we're going to go to Sister Reach as well, a local organization here in Tennessee. So please also tip and support once. They need your help. And stick around afterwards. We're going to be talking to our booking agent, Aaron Gray. A wonderful lad who a lot of you might know from up in Boston.
I consider him a friend.
He is a dear friend, in fact.
What kind of friend stays with you when there are no physical shows and stays your booking agent when you are the most unfamous band in the world?
Aaron Gray, that's who.
Woo! As stated earlier, we have an EP out called Hold On to Yourself. It is dedicated to abuse survivors, and this song especially. Thank you for being here.
All right, what's up?
Hey, how are you? How are you? That was excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you. You know, I was sitting here listening to you guys. I gotta say, one of the things that I really love about what you two do is you have so many weapons at your disposal. You know, like Jerry's such a great drummer, and Buick, you just write awesome music, and your voice is so powerful. And it's just one thing that I was sitting here listening to it, like, wow, there's just so many, like, you know, weapons at your disposal. You got great songwriting, you got all these different things that, you know, I think a lot of bands think they have that, but maybe they don't. I don't know. That's a little rude, I suppose. But anyway,
We've never heard any of those bands.
For anyone watching, I'm Aaron. I run Gray Skull Booking. I work with these two fine individuals as their booking agent. We haven't been able to do anything for a long time, but we're hoping that we get to change that soon. So anyway, I'll ask some questions. So how did you two get together, and how, like, you know, how did the band form, and as a follow-up, where did the name come from? Is there a meaning behind it, or, you know, that sort of thing?
Well,
How long do we have?
Well, I'll start with the first part and then let Buick take it from there. So, spoiler, we're married, which is how we can do this and socially distant. It's worked out great in the shutdown. But Buick had a pretty active solo career, and we were supposed to play a show that was going to be like more rock with a lead guitar player.
Not we, like my solo music.
Yeah, Buick. And so, like, let's rock it up. Let's play it more rock. And that guitar player canceled, like, the day of, for a very vague reason that doesn't make sense still. So we went hard rock trio and really liked it and decided to keep doing it, and then turned it into a band. And as the years progressed, we ended up going through a bunch of bass players and decided to get rid of it entirely and just have her play through a massive rig, which you don't see here. We're simulating virtually in Pro Tools.
Right, but live there's a lot of sound.
Yeah. And so I'll let Buick take it on the name.
We actually, like, that never really turned into Friendship Commanders, but that was sort of the seed. When we started Friendship Commanders, we didn't have a name, and we were demoing some songs that I'd written, and we thought it would be a side project. The first several years that Jerry and I were together as people, Jerry actually lived in Los Angeles, and I lived here. So we didn't think anything of it. I was playing with all kinds of other people, and so was he. And then when he moved here in the end of 2012, we were like, maybe we could play those songs at a show, you know, and it sort of started accidentally, and it was actually like much more punk rock when we started it. And then as the world got worse, the music got heavier, and as he said, we became a two-piece, which also made us a lot heavier for some reason than when we had a bassist. And I stole the name accidentally. I have my winter jacket is, people have seen me in this, I'm sure, this vintage wool Letterman's jacket that says Friendship Commanders on the back in satin. And a lot of people think I had it made, like I'm not proud of myself, but I'm not. I got it at a thrift store 10 years ago and wore it every winter. And then when we decided to do the band and have a name, I said, what about Friendship Commanders? It sounds like a superhero Muppet team or something. And it turns out it's like a football team for a high school kind of way out of town. But they're actually like the Friendship Christian School Commanders. So the name Friendship Commanders was sort of accidental. And we like it because we're not actually that friendly musically. It was sort of a good bait and switch. And yeah, that's been our name ever since. And we trademarked it. Can we hear Aaron?
You in there, Aaron?
Okay, Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Did you hear any of that?
I don't know what happened. I think some people were asking if you could turn the mics up.
I did. I did.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I thought I was having that NPR thing where I sounded gross on the mic, so I backed up.
You sound great. Cool. So, yeah, I know my own band had a similar beginning as far as like we were a trio at one point, and or actually we had a lot of people. We had more people in the band, but eventually just whittled down to the two of us because I don't know. No offense to those guys, they were nice people, but it just didn't work. It was like, man, I'm really tired of showing this bass player this part. If I have to do this one more time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
And also it's much easier for touring. Like by having even one more person makes a huge difference on the road, as you know, and we don't need to.
It is beautiful. Yeah. You only have one other person to keep track of.
Yes.
So you guys released an EP right before the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
Or right around the same. I think it was in April.
A couple weeks in, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know we had some tour plans that we were trying to get together. Well, they were together. We were ready to go. So how did that all work out? Like how did everything, you know, I know when we talked about it, we were really concerned, like not being able to actually do dates and support of the record, but you know, anyway, I'll let you guys take it.
You go ahead first.
Yeah, you know, not being able to tour has definitely blown a gigantic hole in our year just because we like touring. It's like I honestly realized in the shutdown that everything else I did in life around work and living and eating was basically just for the inevitable goal of touring, and that's what made me happiest. But oddly, apparently the actual real statistic, there have been a lot of other there've been a lot of people saying otherwise, but music streaming and consumption is up 10% overall, and we've experienced that. This has definitely been by far our most successful and best received release.
Yeah. And we thank everybody who has made that happen.
Yeah, and so we don't really know. It's just great.
I think too, like we're not like mavens at the live streaming reality. This is only our third one, and but there's something to be said about streaming, both record streaming, and also live streaming like this, that speaks to a kind of equality that I think live music sometimes does not. I think there's a both and situation to think about going forward once venues open up again. I want to continue to do this once in a while, even when we're touring again, because there are people who cannot get out to shows, who cannot pay to get into shows, who even outside of a pandemic are living with compromised immune systems and cannot be out in the world right now or ever. And to be able, I know some of them are watching. Hi, everybody. I'm not going to name you, but I know that you're there. And it's meaningful for me to be able to reach them and to reach people. We've had people write to us from Europe and all over the world that they've been able to see us because of this format. And that feels very moving because we're not, as I stated earlier, we're not a huge band and we haven't been to Europe yet. And it's exciting to be able to do what we do, even in a pared down situation for audiences that we might never reach in person or that can't come to shows. And I want to also acknowledge that I know that equality is a conditional term, and to even have internet access is a privilege point. So I'm not making a statement that everybody in the world has internet access and streaming, but I think it does open up a different world of options that we would be foolish to not consider once the world opens back up in a more sort of expansive way.
I've heard actually a few venues and promoters and agents talking about continuing this on, and that's a very good point. I never really had thought about it from that that viewpoint. So yeah, I mean, it's all very
right, because you can end up demonetizing the whole thing if you do too much, but definitely like keeping it,
Yeah,
doing
we'll
it.
find it.
Great.
We'll find a happy balance.
Yeah. A balance seems fair, you know,
Yeah.
and doable.
And so this record, you guys worked with Kurt Ballou from GodCity, and you know, the guitar player and one of the masterminds behind Converge, one of my favorite bands ever. How was that? How did that happen? Like, what was that like?
So he mixed the record. We actually made the record in the room that you're looking at.
Right.
So
Yeah.
my guitar tracks, which were done at Sound Emporium. Shout out Sound Emporium.
Yeah.
And we sent the tracks to him, and it was like the most professional, awesome experience. It immediately sounded rad. I think it sounds rad. You know, I'm
It does sound rad.
a humble weirdo, but I mean, you know,
Definitely my favorite
rad.
Experience.
Yeah, go ahead.
And also, like, the way it came together was like just like how we made Bill and Steve Albini, all we had to do is send an email. I wanted
Oh, well, you'd be surprised how many people don't get their emails answered. So that
Right.
says something in itself.
I know.
Yeah, we just sent him an email and he said, yep. So then we did it. And
That's so awesome.
I mean, usually I in other projects, and even with this one, having other people mix, it's 50-50, and it's never been quite really the first round of stuff he sent us we could have put out, and it would have been great. It sounded amazing.
I really loved what he did with the vocals on this record, which was I think the biggest departure for any of the sounds that we had previously had on other recordings. Like, I thought he made the vocals huge, and I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole record sounds great. I mean, it's and I know that feeling that, you know, you're describing of recording things in the past and being happy with it, but there's always seems to be something. For me anyway, like every record I've ever done, I'm always like, if we could go back and just tweak this little thing, because we just recorded something with a friend of ours a couple of years ago. It took us 2 years to get it out, but it was the same sort of feeling. Like he made one pass at it, and we were just like, oh, this is what we're supposed to sound like.
I hear things differently than we do. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Turns out that might be good. Yeah.
So somebody just asked a question. Is there a city or venue that you haven't played yet that you'd love to book once the pandemic is over? It's a good question.
I've never played my hometown, Miami. I have such sorrow about that, because growing up there and going to shows was absolutely like formative. And Boston too. I moved to Boston in my teens, but I've never played Miami as an artist in any project, and I hate it. I can't wait to do it at some point. We almost did in April, and then
we were right there.
Almost. I'm coming. What about you, Jay?
Oh God, a venue or city? I would have had a much easier answer for this before. I mean, honestly, all my best experiences playing music have been in Europe. So anywhere in Berlin,
so fancy,
or Bergen, that's going over, you know, big time.
That's fair. They have to let us back over there first, though.
Yeah, and that'll be the last frontier, because I mean, who knows? They're actually supporting their venues over there financially.
Crazy thought.
It's
crazy.
Weird.
And
I've never played Gilman either. I would love to play Gilman.
Oh, we can make that happen.
Yeah, I would love, you know,
I know those people.
Yeah. And also, like, again, accessibility and being able to play to all ages audiences is super important.
Sure. Yep. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes.
Aaron made notes, everybody.
I did.
Bro.
I'm such a nerd. I'm just gonna skip to the last question here. So, Buick, as you've spoken before, you're a very in-person activist.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, you were one of the people, if not the person who was allowed in or got into that
was the last one standing.
horrible, yeah.
Yeah.
How, if you were a person, you know, just telling somebody this is how you get started, because this is a selfish question because it's very interesting to me. You know, what is like step, you know, day one, I want to get involved. What do I do? Like, what's the very first step? Maybe like the first 5 steps or something.
Well, it sounds, one thing I definitely want to speak to, thank you for this question, is how important it is to support organizations that are already working and that already have leadership that is really knowledgeable about the issues that you feel passionately about. So one thing I see a lot of, and a lot of us activists see a lot of when a series of crises occur, and I think we can, you know, accurately state that some crises are going down right now. And
Oh yeah.
We're in a moment of crisis and prolonged. And I see people be like, I better start my own organization, you know, and there's merit in that, but I also think it's important to support the organizations that have been out there that are led by the members of the community that you wish to support. So supporting Black-led organizations, supporting people of color, supporting LGBTQ-led organizations, if that's where your passion, you know, first of all, you have to ask yourself where you're drawn and where you can really be of authentic service. But then also like really familiarize yourself with who's around you already doing that work and learn from those people. You know, we don't always have to be the leaders. You know, we can step in behind other people and be of support where they've already done the heavy lifting or are doing the heavy lifting. I feel like sometimes it almost like, I don't know, it almost sort of spreads the energy and the effort out too much. If everybody starts their own organization, I think we actually need to unify. When I talk about intersectional activism and intersectional feminism, I'm like, if the feminists are telling, if the women's movement is telling you, the feminists, the bodily autonomy activists, the people with uteruses are telling you that there's a crisis with bodily autonomy, which is what abortion bans attack, you know, that is an intersectional issue. That is about Black lives. That is about people of color. That is about all kinds of things. That is not just like a women's issue. And first of all, women are not the only people that get pregnant. You know, trans men get pregnant, non-binary people get pregnant. So it's all about, I think we need to bring these organizations and movements together, and they do intersect. Many organizations are already doing that, but furthering that effort and getting behind that instead of being like, I'm going to start my own voter registration group. It's like, there are so many voter registration groups. You know, Rock the Vote's been around for 100 years. We partnered with them when we did our voter registration tour. Find who's doing the work, learn from them, and if something is directly at odds with your value system that they're doing, either ask about it or then you learn from what they're doing and move on your own. There are, you know, there's merit to that, but support who's already doing the work, and especially for white people, like get in line behind other people. If you're a white cisgendered straight person, you don't need to lead right now. Like, we need to be listening and doing the work that the other organizations are asking us to do quietly while not taking up enormous amounts of space. That's my
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. No, that's there's a lot of really good points for sure. I know it was something for me, like we had talked about on the phone the other day, of just with all this stuff happening right now, and you know, it's like scary to go out into the world. Yeah. So I commend anybody that does it, because there's already, it's like we already had so many barriers in place before. Yeah. And now it's like, plus you might get sick, you know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of reason to not trust anybody else, but you know, there have to be people that we can work with and trust and support, and that, I think that's the work right now. Yeah,
and that's a good point about, you know, starting a new starting new organizations too. It's like Facebook groups, you know? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, there's a lot of them out there. Like there was some Boston metal group or whatever that was trying to, you know, get word out about something. And then I was like, there's no Boston metal show place.
Right.
There's all these other places. There's nothing like that. So now I look at other people starting these things that are like even more sectioned off. I'm like, no, this already exists. I mean, this is on a stupid, much smaller dichotomy that has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, important issues. But
and I don't mean to say too, like, there are people who are living in like really rural areas. I guess, let me clarify. I'm speaking about people that live in places where there might be multiple organizations or options. If you're living in
sure.
some place where there's nothing and you're the only one and you have that passion, then you are the one, you know. but
Yeah.
more often than not, you know, we're in a position to support something that already exists. And I think unity, I don't mean to get like super Operation Ivy meltdown, but unity is the way that we actually like address multiple things at one time. The only crisis in the news cannot be the only thing that we're dealing with. We have to be able to still support these other systems that are actually all interconnected.
I think JJ had asked what the last thing you were, where you were last. She was wanting some clarity on that. The voting in Nashville.
So where I was in person.
Yeah, what it was that you were there for, I think.
So the Tennessee legislative session was coming to a close, and the state had told everybody, activists, citizens, whatever, that there were certain bills that would not be brought back to the floor to be voted on before the closing of the session for the summer. And at 9 p.m. Thursday night, the 18th, we learned from our lobbyist, and when I say our, I mean Tennessee Advocates for Planned Parenthood shares a lobbyist with Tennessee Equality Project, and I worked with both groups as a volunteer and a district captain for one. Notified us that they were there in the building and that they were going to push the budget through, the state budget, several other bills, and this abortion ban that we've been watching since January.
And I'll add that we were sitting in the other room, had just taken our last bite of dinner, and we're about to watch a movie, and she was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I got the phone tree text and ran downtown, and through a series of sort of boring communications, my personal rep in my district got me in. Darren Jernigan got me in the building. And that's how the Planned Parenthood organizers got in as well. And they were actually arrested for being present to the vote. I was not arrested. But I was the last person from our group that had not been arrested. And that part of it's sort of weird. And we don't know how illegal or legal that was for them to even keep the public out. The state capitol is being guarded by hundreds of state troopers right now, armed. It's terrifying. There are barricades.
Oh, wow.
With masks on. So it was like really like Handmaid's Tale, like a terrifying, guns out, drawn at the people.
Wow.
So it felt otherworldly and unsafe and terrifying. And I've actually had like some trauma ripples from it, from being there. And they passed the bill at 12:30 a.m. on Juneteenth. And it was horrifying, and it is horrifying, and it's the most restrictive ban in the country. And I think that should be said. It does not make exceptions for rape or incest. It's incredibly restrictive and incredibly bigoted. And it's a tough time to be in Tennessee. It is. It's a tough time to care.
It's crazy. Yeah, I remember reading your responses after that came, or the post that you had made on Facebook, and just feeling really heartbroken.
Yeah, I've had to shut my socials off for the last week because I'd actually just spun me out. I haven't been able to participate in a meaningful way without just telling the state of Tennessee to like burn down. So I'm taking a break until I can get myself together.
It's not like there isn't enough stressful things going on already.
Like our state's already been, we were hit by tornadoes at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
Weather storms in the middle of it that wiped out power for half the city. I mean, it's been a tough time here. And for them to focus in the middle of a pandemic and in the middle of this racial reckoning right now, for them to focus on taking more rights away from more people, more marginalized people, is appalling and dishonest and unconstitutional. I mean, those are the good adjectives. I'm on camera, but I feel I'm very, very dark about it inside. I've been upset for 9 days. And I mean upset. I mean like slept on the couch for 3 nights, panic attacks, like upset.
I can't imagine. Yeah. Well, I'm ending us on a dark note.
Anyway, support once, man.
Yeah, support once.
Yeah.
Thanks to them for their super professional team and like everybody being so kind to us and welcoming. We appreciate being here.
You guys sounded great. It was awesome. It sounds really good. Thank you for doing this again. Yeah, I'm sure, I hope to see you soon.
Yes.
We hope to see you soon. And we'll call you if not.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We're so grateful to have had you here. We're Friendship Commanders, Buick, Jerry.
See you on the next one.